what's good, y'all? It's your boy. That's right, I'm back. Storm Sage coming to you with patch 12.6 notes. We're gonna be going over them, and that's right, I am coming back. Can't believe it. Rito Riot are coming back with pure solo queue. I don't know if you guys have known or seen, but recent information that came out is that Riot, that's right, Riot Games is working towards adding specific solo queue again. Hallelujah. Praise be to the Lee Sin gods of our pastime. I'm excited for that because I feel like flex queue and solo queue really changed the dynamic of a solo play and playing with a team of 5. I think that's where you're going to be getting a lot of more climbing for people who can work together as a team rather than people who just stack twos, you know, with each other and do their own thing, right? They're doing their own thing throughout the whole entire game. They're not communicating. They're just briefing, multi-pinging, and it's annoying. So I'm excited for that. That news is exciting. And so I'm thinking about getting back into my climb, getting back into more League of Legends gameplay. So let's go ahead and jump into these patch notes and go over them with you guys. Again, if you like the League of Legends content that you're going to be getting this next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, then please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out in order to grow and be able to give you guys even more information. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. Squad up for patch 12.6. And I'm a squad up, that is. It's been a hot minute since the mid-patch 12.5 balances. There's a lot in store this week. In addition to some spunky new sci-fi skins, we have buffs and nerfs galore, a set of adjustments to Rengar, and systematic changes to sustain items and runes. Phase 1 of the Mythic content overhaul is also finally here. Keep reading to find out more about Mythic Essence, the Mythic Shop, unvaulted prestige skins, and an update on Phase 2. Anyway, back to the riff. Heard norms are looking kind of sus this week. Gonna go check that out. All right, so this is the patch highlights, and we're gonna go ahead and look. We got Hecarim and Tryndamere getting nerfs. Hecarim is causing a just incredible ruckus in the jungle I've been watching and seeing, and so that nerf is warranted. And everyone's been talking about Tryndamere on all levels, average, skilled, and elite levels, not pro. Hecarim is more of a pro pick, but he's also in those diamond tiers I've been seeing. Even in those platinum tiers, he's been working up. He's been going crazy in the jungle, so that's huge. But Tryndamere, I've heard a lot of stuff, and I've always hated Tryndamere. I feel like Tryndamere does absolutely nothing, and he can face tank, face roll you immediately. So that's the crazy part about it. All right, now the players getting buffs. This is I don't know, Azir. We all know Azir. Especially in pro play, if he gives a little bit of buff, you're gonna see him a lot. He's got to be balanced very carefully, or he can be a crazy character. Darius, Jax, and Nidalee. I haven't seen too much of Nidalee lately, unfortunately, but maybe with these buffs she can come back into the meta. Darius and Jax, top laners primarily, looking to get a little bit more strength in that top lane, and adjustments. Rengar's getting an adjustment. I've heard he's also been a problem, and adjusted is Alawi. Interesting, because I am thinking about adding Alawi to my character pool. That's a whole nother video. And let's look at the skins. Prestige Battle Cat Jinx, Battle Bunny Prime Riven, Battle Bunny Misfortune, Battle Cat Jinx, looking nice, Battle Wolf Silas, and Battle Bat Vayne. Okay, so the battle skins looking pretty nice. No characters in here that I'm specifically and that Ashen Knight Pike skin is absolutely amazing. Just by the way, that Ashen Knight Pike is good. And the systems, Blade of the Ruin King, which again is super strong right now, that blade, and then Immortal Shield Bow as well is crazy strong on most all champions. I see a lot of top laners now running it. It gives you a lot of battle power up top. Vampiric Scepter, again, the build path for those. Treasure Hunter, Fleet of Footwork. I wonder what systems are changing with Fleet. I actually like Fleet. I think it needs to be a little bit stronger and give you a little bit more boost of movement speed for different champions. I would love that for maybe a Victor build, so you can go into that tree, and then Legend Bloodline as well. All right, champions 0. Let's see, health growth increase. That's about it. That's a little bit good for that early game and in game, giving him a little bit more sustainability in the late game, so he won't get one shot. A little birdie told us that Azir's been weak, and the numbers told us the birdie was right. His lack of pro presence in a scaling meta that should favor him was the final confirmation. So we're giving him some base stat power that should help the Emperor, a Shurima, in all skill brackets. And again, this isn't attacking any of his attack stats, any of his AP or ratios or anything like that. It's just pure health growth baseline stats. That's going to help him throughout the whole entire game. That's good. Health growth 92 to 105. That's actually a pretty decent increase. Health at level 18, about 200. So he has a little bit more base health tankiness. So, you know, he'll scale a little bit better with items that give him health. Darius, our base damage increase. Darius has been lagging behind other juggernauts after the fighter item changes, so we're giving him a beefy damage boost. As a reminder, his ult's total damage can increase by up to 100% based on his passive stacks. Okay, so they're giving Darius's R a little bit more true damage, it looks like, and bonus, no bonus AD, just okay. So the base medium true damage starts at 125, so a 25 damage buff early game, then 50 mid game, and then at the end game up 75 damage. Pretty good. I don't know if Darius needed an R buff. A lot of issues with Darius, I feel like, is his ability to catch some of these more mobile champions and be able to reach them. So to me, that's more of the issue. But again, this is a good buff for all Darius players that are still playing him, and he's gonna still be strong in that top lane if you kind of don't give him the respect he deserves. Hecarim, here we go, y'all. Q and E base damage decreased late. Hecarim, I like that, is taking over pro again. So we're nerfing the base damage of some of his abilities to ensure fairer play. Q Rampage, base damage 60. Okay, so his base damage is scaling a little bit slower. You got the 97 to the 90, then the 120. Ooh, a little bit of a nerf there from 134 to 120. And then he also, but his bonus AD is still scaling by 85%. They didn't hit his AD scaling, but again, his base damage is lower earlier in the game. And devastating charge. Let's see what they did with this. Okay, that got hit early game too. That ramping up period just a little bit. Those percentages are still the same though, so he still has his crazy high scaling on both the Bay Q Rampage and the E devastating charge. Still has 100% bonus AD, but they just hit some of these base damages. I'm telling you right now, this isn't going to change anything. This is not going to hurt Hecarim and what he is. As they said, Tankarum, one of the biggest issues is that he just doesn't die. So I don't think this is going to change anything. I think he's still going to be top meta for jungle. And if you're a jungler out there, definitely think about picking up Hecarim if you haven't already. He's been actually good for a couple of seasons now where he's just been really strong. So if you're a Hecarim player, you're eating good lately. Alawi, quality of life change on R and several bug fixes. Let's see what these are about. No balance changes here. Instead, we fixed lots of bugs and updated Alawi's ult to give her some more control over her tentacles. Interesting. R, Leap of Faith. Face me. R, Leap of Faith now cast with Alawi facing towards your cursor, allowing for more favorable tentacle spawn locations. That's nice. That's a nice little, you know, and then there's a bunch of bug fixes here. When Alawi attacks a vessel while empowered with W, harsh lesson. Nearby inactive tentacles will now slam or target as soon as they become active. Short delay removed. That is really good. Spell queuing has been added to W and R. You can now buffer other spells while casting them. W harsh lessons visual indicators have been fixed and will show the correct range of her empowered basic attacks. Tentacles can no longer spawn on either team's base gates on Summoner's Rift. Okay. Vessels no longer contribute to Alawi's creep score when they expire or are destroyed. That is big. That's big. Tentacle Smash and E Test of Spirit will now be visible to nearby enemy champions when cast from Fog of War. So they just added a little bit of bug fixes, allow you a little bit more being able to utilize your W, being able to Q that with the R, being able to get all those off right away instantly on an enemy that's big. That's big. Jax. Here we go. Let's give it for the Jax. Base health increase, W base damage increase. Jax has been mediocre for a while, okay, and that's okay. There's no reason to do anything more with him, Rito. So we're giving him some early game power to help him get to his item power spikes. He may not have a real weapon at first, but now you can buy one a little sooner. Okay. So a little bit earlier base health, so he starts with 615 now, so he's going to be able to take maybe some auto attack maybe, or a couple more million hits if he's going all in. W and power, magic damage is going up on his W and power hit. No changes to these the percentages, so I'm not seeing a lot of percentage hits. These are not heavy nerfs or buffs. They're just changing base stats for now to see how those go. And I think that's good. I think that gives it some wait and see approach. Whereas before they really started playing with percentages and stuff like that. And, power scaling gets all crazy. Okay, let's see what they're doing to my girl, Nidalee. Human W cost decreased. E mana cost decreased late. And cast range increased. Cougar W damage radius increased. Human form Nidalee is a mana hungry huntress, but her overall kit is much more compatible with the non-mana mage mythics. We're giving her more access to her utility spells, as well as making her AoE range bigger so she can claw enemies and jungle camps more effectively. Lastly, her heal cast range was pretty restrictive, especially for a character with so many other positioning constraints, so we're increasing it to match that of her bushwhack trap placement. All in all, this should make her more accessible and stronger across all skill brackets. Okay, so the human form W bushwhack mana cost is coming down, so it'll be easier to plant those traps, and would use less mana overall, which is nice. Now you always lay those for vision or catch people coming into your jungle, so you will have less of a deciding factor of whether to put that one down or not. And then E Primal Surge mana cost is going down by a pretty good amount, and cast range is more, so that health heal that she gives to herself or to another, in this case another person, is going to be ranged up pretty far, so she'll be able to come in and heal her mid lane on a gank, or if she's coming in on a scuffle, be able to heal up the AD carry a lot earlier. So that's big. That's pretty nice. And then her cougar form W pounce, she's gonna have a little bit more of a radius change, so that means that this is nice for clearing camps in the jungle, as well as for those big AoE team fights where there's multiple people stacked on top of each other. She's more likely to hit multiple people with this W pounce in her cougar form, so that's pretty nice. And let's go over to Rengar. I've heard some crazy things, and they got a lot going on with Rengar. Rengar, passive adjustments to ferocity, leaps and bone tooth necklace, new ferocity resource bar added, Q basic attacks now Q basic attacks now always crit damage, always crit, okay, comma. Damage now scales with crit chance, comma, or semicolon, whatever that one's called, now applies against towers, comma, no longer applies against plants, period. Thank God for the period, right, y'all? E-cast time during leap removed now grants true sight and some vision around target. At R now also grants some vision around target. Interesting. Our big kitty finally has some big changes coming to his kit. Our goals were to smooth out Rengar's gameplay, keep his current playstyle, and clarify his builds. We're going to keep a close eye on the Q crit damage ratio so he doesn't get too out of line. That's crazy. Q basic attacks now always crit, but they're switching him to a strict crit build champion. He's going to be primarily crit damage now, or crit chance, crit build. Thank Yasuo, thank Yone. We also know that Q no longer applying on plants can be painful for some seasoned players who use this mechanic to optimize ferocity stacks, but we strongly believe it wasn't healthy to support long term and have instead moved that power to more accessible parts of his kit. Let's read these. Passive, Unseen Predator. Updated. Rengar's next leap will grant 1 ferocity. Upon losing all ferocity stacks, no matter how much ferocity he gains before his next leap. Interesting. Rengar will be able to leap after 0.35 seconds in bush or camouflage consistently rather than based, I didn't know it works with Senna's E as well. Rather than based on a 0.45 second timer. Leap range has been slightly increased to offset variability. Ferocious Feline. Rengar now has a ferocity resource bar that indicates how much ferocity he currently has. Stacks generated by leaps will have a different color, so you'll know if you'll gain ferocity on your next leap. All ferocity stacks fall off after 10 seconds out of combat instead of 8 before. Bone Tooth Necklace takedown timer within 3 seconds of damaging an enemy champion instead of within 1.5 seconds. Q Savagery. New Savage Strikes. Winker's Q empowered basic attack is now always a critical strike instead of regular critical strike damage. Each 1% critical strike change increases this empowered attacks damage by 0.66%, 0.99% with Infinity Zed's Perfection passive. IE is definitely going to be one of his preferred go-to items now. Crazy. Q Savagery now also applies to basic attacks against towers, and Q Savagery no longer applies to base attacks against E Bola Strike. Rengar can now throw his E Bola Strike instantly with 0 cast time during leaps. Crazy. Now grants True Sight and Normal Vision 150 units around the first enemy hit for 2 seconds. Rengar's R, Thrill of the Hunt, now hunts not only True Sight but also Normal Vision 100 units around the nearest enemy. Let me know in the comments section below, any Rengar players out, how do you feel about these changes? Me personally, Rengar is always one of those champions that even without these changes was a very high base role champion, right? He gets going, he starts jumping in and out of fights, he starts going in. He's sometimes annoying to deal with, but that's his nature of him, right? He can be strong, he can also be very weak. He's not doing damage. But this crit build is going to make him very squishy in the early game. Very, very weak as far as health. When there's Hecarim in the jungle who's sustaining through, Rengar is this damage that we're going to see from this crit build enough to get him through into the mid game and late game Rengars where they can one-shot enemy AD carriers like that. So we'll have to see. I'm interested, but you're going to probably see a lot of Rengars in your games after these changes, so make sure you keep your eyes out for Rengar. Tryndamere, let's see what they're doing with Tryndamere. He's one of my most hated champions. I can't stand Tryndamere. E cooldown reduction per crit decreased, R cooldown increased. Tryndamere is too strong at the highest levels of play. His skit scales too well with ability haste, but we're readjusting his cooldowns to account for the higher amounts of ability haste available to him to items. Thank you. So one of my biggest issues with Tryndamere is that he can ult, kill you, then get back into lane, and then literally it's like he has ult right again. And that's like around the mid game area, around that 15 to 20 minute mark. He may have one and a half item, 2 items. If he's fed, he might have 2 items, right? Or just even when he's in that mode, he just slaps you continuously, and he will turret dive you. If Tryndamere gets just a small lead, he just starts turret diving over and over again, and it's hard to come back from. Very impressive, especially with the champs I play. So it's a personal issue, right? It's me, don't feed the trend, right? But after a certain point, whether you feed him or not, he just starts turret diving you, killing you, and then spinning away. Let's see what they've done. E Spinning Slash. Cooldown reduction per critical strike, 0.75 seconds. 1.5 seconds again. Okay. And then our Undying Rage. Okay, early game, they extended it to 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And then 10 seconds less. And then in game, late game, it is still on a 90-second cooldown with ability haste, lowering that even more. So in game, they're basically saying if Tryndamere gets to end game, he's still going to wreak havoc. He's still going to have that uptime on his R. But if he doesn't, then early game it's going to be a little bit less. He's going to have a little bit more restrictions on when he can use it, how much he can use it, etc. All right, let's get into the items now. Items is where my bread and butter is as the Sage. I'm really interested in items, synergies with champions that I play, and just in general what they like, what the philosophy behind them. So let's go ahead and look into it. Many sustain options were added with the introduction of Mythos last year, especially for early game itemization. We believe sustain is still a compelling choice for Mythic slots, but these options just give a bit too much bang for your buck as they are today. To make the trade-offs between sustain and power more significant, we're adjusting some lifesteal choices in a way that better reflects their cost and value. Hopefully you'll see less of those dream tanking plays that can happen when these items are stacked, as well as fewer lanes where sustain washes out trades too quickly. Lastly, we've let the fighter system items out of this list since they were recently adjusted and have landed in a pretty good spot in terms of balancing sustain and power. All right, so these are basically the sustains. They're dropping down percentages. The Mortal Shield Bow is coming down to 8%. And then if with Orin Masterwork item, it does go down to 10%. Shield amount still pretty decent. It looks like it is. Same applies to but the other one. So it looks like they did increase the shield amount by 50 late game. So that's the shield is going to be a little bit higher. Mythic passive empowers each of your related items with 5 bonus AD and 70 health. So they took down the lifesteal portion of the item, but Immortal Shield Bow has been buffed everywhere else. Slightly in the shield amount, not too much to write home about. 50 late game, which probably still ends up killing an 80 carry that's going to be rocking this, or another champion that may rock this like Yasuo or Yone. 50 shield more late game is what it is. Empowers each of your legendary items. 5 bonus AD is still attributed, but they will be a little bit more tanky, so 20 health per other item. So if you think about late game 5 to 6 items, you're probably looking at about 100 to 120 extra health on that champion, plus an extra 50 shield. So they'll be a little bit tankier, but they won't be getting as much lifesteal. 2% less. And then Blade of the Ruin King, same thing. Lifesteal's sunken down from 10% to 8%. And Vampiric Scepter is sunken down from 10% to 8%. Now let's look at runes. That was the only changes to the items, by the way, y'all. Runes. We have a few changes of runes related to the sustained item changes above. Most notably, we're replacing Ravenous Hunter with a new shiny and not sustain related rune, Treasure Hunter. Ravenous Hunter was too prevalent in the sustain system as it was too easy to access and stack with other runes, items, and abilities. Wow, so they take Ravenous Hunter out. That's big. So definitely gonna have to go different options. That's interesting. This meant we've had to tune down the rune to a pretty sad state to mitigate its potential sustained power. Sustain also felt a bit out of place in Domination, a rune tree that's supposed to be all about aggression. This replacement will give us more room to let sustain shine in the limited places where it still exists, and also reward those aggressive champions that are really looking to cash in. Ravenous Hunter has been removed, and Ravenous Hunter is for that domination tree. If you're going domination, it's just like an automatic safe thing to go for all champions. This is going to be big. There's going to be a little bit of a playstyle difference for a lot of people who would take Ravenous Hunter, and different runes to stack up some type of survivability, and get a lot of that health back. You're gonna have to make smarter trades early game. You're not gonna have these Ravenous Hunter stacks coming in throughout the whole fight. So that's interesting. It's gonna change some gameplay on some 80 carries specifically, as well as some aggressive champions that love that extra lifesteal. Treasure Hunter. Cash only, please. Gain 70 gold when you claim a bounty hunter stack. This bounty is increased by 20 gold for each bounty hunter stack. So what they've added is the same principle, but with money. So you're not getting lifesteal with Ravenous Hunter with the stacks. In this one, you get money. So you get 70, and then you'll get 90, 20 gold for each bounty hunter stack. I'm sure there's 5 stacks, just like Ravenous Hunter, 90, 110, and you keep getting and building on those stacks for Treasure Hunter. I'm sure people won't. I'm sure that Ravenous Hunter is going to be missed. I'm sure that's going to be missed. Treasure Hunter, I don't know who's going to want that. Obviously, it's going to be pretty big for people like maybe like Gangplank, Gale, a lot of these characters that are trying to get to that late game state and get to that late game state quicker. You can maybe see some builds where they go into Treasure Hunter and they go into the other tree where you can like buy and get money early and all that other stuff. So we'll see if we'll start seeing guild builds. But we'll see. Fleet of Footwork, one of my favorite runes, by the way. Healing upon fully energized attack, 10 to 100, 118 plus 30% bonus AD plus 20% AP. So it's nerfed. They did nerf it. 40%, it's gone to 10%, and then it's gone down 10% AD and then 10% AP. So they nerfed Fleet of Footwork. That's just to, I guess, help with AD carries using it to really try to get that health back in lane. It is annoying. You win a trade, and then the other AD carry with Fleet of Footwork, Ravenous Hunter, and Legend Bloodline, they go in, they basically get healed back up right away. Lifesteal per legend stack now goes pretty 0.4% up to 6% at 15 stacks. So down 3% overall once you get the full stacks. After reaching maximum legend stacks, your maximum health increased by 100. But what they're doing is they're taking power away from sustainability and adding it to health, overall pool of health, survivability. So instead of sustaining up, giving you more initial bursts to try to, I think, make fights last a little bit longer. Because remember, right now, we're in the damage era, right? We're in the damage arc of League of Legends where everybody does damage. It's everywhere. You can get one shot at any point in time. If you restrict that by taking sustainability, the impact of sustainability out of the equation and adding health, a little bit of health, a little bit of survivability, so characters don't get one shot and have the ability to come back and be outplay or make another play, flash, do different things like that. It'll change the dynamics of fights and how the game is played right now. So I think that's what they're trying to do. And a Mythic content overhaul. Phase 1 of the Mythic content overhaul has arrived. Here are all the details, as well as a couple of changes since our original announcement. Mythic Essence. Gemstones and prestige points are combining into a single new currency that never expires. Mythic Essence. Mythic Essence, for short, can be obtained everywhere gemstones or prestige points were previously earned. You can spend Mythic Essence in the Mythic Shop for special skins, accessories, and more. All players will receive a one-time mission on March 31st, 2022 that rewards 10 Mythic Essence to celebrate the launch of the new system. This mission will expire on May 2nd, 2022. All gemstones in player inventories have automatically been converted to 10 Mythic Essence each. Prestige points expired. Prestige points 2020 have expired and were removed from inventories on March 24th. I remember that. And Mythic Essence drop rates from Masterwork chests have been increased to offset removal of prestige points from chest bundles. So the new Mythic Shop feature content that rotates on a regular basis, including the return of past prestige skins, Mythic skins and accessories. Mythic skins and accessories in the Mythic Shop will rotate every 3 months, every 6 patches. New Mythic skins debut at 100 ME and will cost 125 ME in future unvaults. This is all like blue blah blee. So basically, they're changing the whole system. We're going to be getting Mythic Essence for all of those different skins and different things that you can get before, like the chromas. So Ashen Knight Pike will be 100 Mythic Essence, and that's how you're going to purchase that particular skin. Coming for your emo, it's going to be 25 Mythic Essence. Hex Tech Annie and Hex Tech Amumu going to be 100 Mythic Essence. That's going to be pretty much how that works. Unvaulted Prestige skin. Prestige skins will only appear in the Mythic Shop at least 1 year after their original release. They'll cost 125 Mythic Essence the first time they're offered in the Mythic Shop. 150 mythic essence on the second, and 200 mythic essence if they've been unvaulted 3 or more times. So that's just telling you there's going to be a stacking mythic essence billing for those specific unvaulted prestige. And just to go over, here you go, I'm gonna put it right here on the screen for you guys, all of the commemorative, I can't believe I can't say that word, commemorative prestige skins that are currently gonna be coming out eventually. So these are all the ones that are coming out. Let me know if there's Pulsefire Thresh is one of the ones that I like that I never got. I'm looking through this list right now. Everything else is like, oh yeah. And then phase 2 update, we'll go over this. All of the above announcements are just phase 1 of the Mythic content overhaul. While we're not launching phase 2 just yet, we do have one big update to share regarding showcase and masterwork milestones, which are reward tracks that will replace much of what was offered through prestige points in the past. We've adjusted our plans for showcase milestones, and prestige skins that debut during showcase will be available for purchase in the Mythic Shop for 125 mythic essence, rather than as the final reward of a showcase milestone track. Once the showcase ends, the prestige skin will immediately retire from the Mythic Shop and become available via loot drops and rerolls without its border and icon, just like other vaulted prestige skins. We'll be adjusting the showcase milestone rewards track to accommodate this update. And last but not least, don't forget there's also a phase 3 of the Mythic content overhaul. Stay tuned for more details later this year. Hex Tech Rentals. Unrelated to the above, we're removing the ability to activate loose shards to rent champion skins and war skins for 7 days. Virtually no one used the rental system. That's true, I never used it. Many players didn't even know it existed. Any rentals that are currently active will stay active for the remaining duration. The ability to upgrade shards into permanents, re-roll them into permanents, or disenchant them into essence is not affected by any of the changes. Regular Clash is coming in. Bug fixes and quality of life changes. Looks like a Jaina W bug fix nerf. Fix a bug where Jaina's W's effort range had incorrectly reverted to edge. Gotcha, Jaina players. Fix a bug where if Tahm Kench R devoured an allied Senna while she was inside her E, Curse of the Black Mist, both champions would disappear from enemies' view. Tricky. That little Senna Tahm Kench bot lane, you know who you are out there. You've been caught. You've been handed red-handed. Shut up. Fix a bug where Lux's E loosens Singularity projectile with proc spell shields on all enemies it passed through, even though the projectile itself doesn't deal damage or CC. That's pretty funny. Fix the bug where if a ward were placed on top of an existing ward, the new one would start moving randomly around the older one. Okay. Upcoming skins, and here's just a better viewpoint of the skins and the chromas. And again, none of these are really my characters, right? I do like the Sylas skin. The Sylas skin is really nice. I don't play Sylas. But that is it for the patch notes. So that's all for the patch notes, y'all. Thank you so much for reading through all of these. If you haven't, again, down below, the biggest one I think we're going to be looking at in this upcoming patch with the games is going to be Rengar, right? Rengar is the big one. And how the meta shifts with a lot of sustainability being taken away from AD carries. Some of these other, AD carry champions aren't AD carries. Like Yasuo, Yone, Kiana, different champions like that utilize these abilities. But let's be honest, crit chance, crit Rengar is gonna be just everywhere. So get your catnips, okay? Get your catnips, get your litters, and get ready for it. But again, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you guys on the Rift. And again, always follow your ninja way. Peace.